Well, hello there, vinyl community people and all my music loving friends. It's Mike MGK Boston back with another video. Um, didn't see anything interesting this week. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did see some interesting videos this week, but I didn't see any new threads in the vinyl community people, and I didn't see any new contests. So I thought I'd try to start a thread today. Again, this is a thread, not a contest. So anyway, that said, my idea for this thread is I'm just going to call this by the numbers. I work with numbers all day long in my professional life, and it came to me the other day. I thought, hey, it's probably been done before, but I'm gonna give it this set of rules. So basically, show a dozen albums with either the band name has a number in it or the title of the album has a number in it. So anyway, yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. I didn't have a hard time pulling together a bunch of stuff. There's, it's a mix here of compact discs and records today, but so be it. So vinyl purist alert, this is a hybrid video, compact discs and records. Anyway, that said, so we'll just kick it off. These are in no particular order, and again, like I do, we're gonna be jumping across a few genres, and this will definitely be a genre that you'll get a kick out of. So if you're not familiar with this gentleman, late great Bert Kaempfert, well-known band leader from Germany, came up in the 50s, late 40s, 50s, well into the 60s, when he peaked out. By 1970, interest had waned, and he just went into a career as a producer at that point, I believe. But he was a pioneer, if you will, in the whole movement called orchestral pop. If you're not familiar with that, you'll have to give this a listen. So again, for the number purpose of this video, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's, again, like I said, Bert Kaempfert and his orchestra. So it's all instrumental music. Some people call it elevator music. Some people call it Muzak, whatever. I quite enjoy it. I might have mentioned this in videos past. I forget in what context, but my parents had me quite later in life. So they were married in 1949. So their music was big band, jazz, and they liked a lot of this orchestral pop stuff. In fact, this came from my late great dad's collection. My mother's turning 94 this year. My dad passed back in 2016 back in Ontario. So my dad had a bunch of this stuff. It's hard to believe, but I've actually expanded on the Bert Kaempfert section. He had 4 or 5 albums, my dad did, and now I've got probably about 14. I think I'm done with it, but they're so cheap. You see these in dollar bins, and they're often in perfect condition. And look at this. This is like near mint. Like myself, my dad instilled that in me. Take care of your things, and I do, especially my records. So as you can see, the sleeve's perfect. And there's some gent there. He's on a night out on the town with his lady. So the title track from this, of course, you can see it's Bert Kaempfert and his orchestra, 3 o'clock in the morning, and other favorite instrumentals. So the title track, of course, is called 3 o'clock in the morning. What else is on this? Let a smile be your umbrella on a rainy day. Doesn't that say it all? Yeah, there's a nice cover here. There's a song from World War II that was, and it's kind of apt. Today's Veterans Day in the US, and in Canada, it's Remembrance Day, November 11th, of course, remembering those that fought in the Great Wars and all other wars. Yeah, like I said, it's a Vera Lynn song, and it's called, There'll Be Bluebirds Over the White Cliffs of Dover. Look up Vera Lynn singing that. Very popular in World War II. Very, very popular. But of course, this is an instrumental version. So in this, in the Bert Kaempfert orchestra, he did have some chorus. So he had some singers in the background that would, just kind of, going along with the music. But very pleasant listen. I use that phrase, if this doesn't cheer you up, there's no hope for you, but it's just nice background music. This is my go-to kind of on a Sunday afternoon, especially in the wintertime. You just throw this on. It's just nice in the background. And it's Bert Kaempfert, 3 o'clock in the morning, kicking off this By the Numbers video. I look forward to comments on that one in the comment section. All right, totally shifting gears. Going over to Greece for a little progressive rock. This is Aphrodite's Child. Of course, Well, Vangelis was the lead guy. You've heard about Vangelis, I'm sure, if you're into any progressive rock. He was a world-renowned, if you will, piano player, keyboard, and he did film scores and all kinds of stuff later on after this broke up. This was their 5th release, I believe, and prior to this is the only band I even know from Greece. They did a bunch of kind of psychedelic pop, but this was a concept album, mainly dealing with the theme of the apocalypse of St. John. As the story goes, it's a double CD set. And the first time I heard this, let's hold this here. I think I'm in my section here with wanted to tie this in with another subject. Where are you hiding? Here it is. Right here over my shoulder. What are the odds? So I first heard this when I was seeing this concert. This is Verve, when they were just called Verve before, I don't know if there was legal action from the Verve record label. Verve, of course, were a big shoegazing modern rock outfit from England. And I saw this tour, a bar I mentioned in my last video in Toronto, live club called Lee's Palace. My friends in Toronto would know it and should love it. I saw these guys there, but there was an opening band, some band from Sweden called Acetone. They weren't very good. And so in between, this is not a giant venue. I don't know what the capacity at Lee's Palace is. It might be 600. So there was a DJ like right by the lighting guy, and he was just playing tunes before Verve hit the stage. And this was playing, and I was like, what is this? I've never heard anything like this. I'm not a big prog rock guy, but this is prog rock, but it's not like Emerson, Lake and Palmer or King Crimson, and I like those too when I'm in the mood for it, but it's different. But it's got the label of prog. If you look up reviews on this, of course, called 666. Those are the numbers tying into the theme of the video. So Demi Russo was the singer. I think his name was Demi Russo, and of course Vangelis on keyboards. I don't know the other personnel. So it opens. There's a long opener before instrumental of Babylon, and then Loud, Loud, Loud. There's a chorus. It's only about 2 minutes, and then the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The song is just called The Four Horsemen. Look that up. That's very worthwhile, and it kind of says what this is all about. I've never listened to this all the way through. It becomes a little much at points, but it does have its moments, and I'm glad I found this. I found this in a used store back not long after I saw that Verve concert, and that was the first Verve North American tour. And of course, like I said, I saw that at Lee's Palace in Toronto. On the inside here, don't think there's anything special. Some kind of weird artwork there. I don't know, it's like a car flipping over or something, like driving into a wall there, it looks like. And there's, of course, the track listing, and then on the inside, you've got lyric sheet. No pictures of the band on the inside. But again, yeah, the only band I really know from Greece. But anyway, yeah, they're it's Aphrodite's Child, 666, tying into this. And where I first heard it again, this is Verve. This is their first, well, not their first album. I think it's their first full-length album. There's an EP before this one that I have too. And this is called A Storm in Heaven. Yeah, there's the band on the inside right there. There's the great Richard Ashcroft, I believe, down there in the corner, the vocalist. But yeah, I just, like I say, the record I'm showing tied to the subject. If there's something that ties into it, just like that Verve album, of course, I'll throw that in. So this is something completely different too. This is like Flower Power. It's the Fifth Dimension, Up, Up, and Away. This is their debut album. I think this was released, 1967. There they are. They're going up, up, away in their beautiful balloon. And of course, that's the title track. And of course, dealing with by the numbers subject of the video, they're the Fifth Dimension, number 5. So beyond that, Up, Up, and Away. What else? I think there's a Mama and the Papas cover on this, California My Way. That's a cover by the Mamas and the Papas. They don't really do anything different with it. It kind of just sounds like Mamas and the Papas. But yeah, this band was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-piece band. Yeah, so I just bought this at a used shop many years ago. You still got the label on it here. I think I only paid a few bucks for it back when I was still living in Ontario. But it's just fun. Up, Up, and Away. I used to hear this on a show I used to listen to called Psychedelic Sundays on the formerly great Q107 in Toronto. And Andy Frost used to spin this once in a while. So just fun, and it's the Fifth Dimension on this video by the numbers. All right, where are we next? All right, of course, there he is, the late great Jim Morrison, and this was called 13. This was a compilation, basically culling from their first 5 releases. This came out in 70. They'd been pretty active, so they had 5 albums between 1967 and 1970, from the self-titled debut right up to LA. I don't know if LA Woman was out yet or if that was in 71. But anyway, you look at the track listing on this, Moonlight Drive. That's a great track. Crystal Ship from their debut. The Unknown Soldier, speaking of Veterans Day today. Your Lost Little Girl. Hello, I Love You. I mean, yeah, it's a nice compilation. I don't know why I bought this, because I have all the Doors stuff, so it's kind of a little moot. But it's just, if you want, it's like a greatest hits album sometimes, if you want to just throw that on and don't want to have to play every other, if you want to hear certain tracks or hits. So this is Doors 13. I don't know if there's anything really on the inside here. No. Of course, they were on the Elektra label. So this is a Canadian repress I would have bought probably in high school. But yeah, this is still in great shape. And there they are. It's the Doors, the number 13. All right. Back in the 80s here. Here on this guy here. 82. This is Gang of Four. This is their 3rd studio release. It's the only one I've got. Of course, it's called Songs of the Free. Of course, Gang of Four, 4 being the number. A couple of really good tracks on this, though. Call Me Up opens up the album. That's really excellent. I Love a Man in Uniform was, I think, it might have been a college charting single for them. And The History of the World's also good. So, Gang 4, these guys, if you're not familiar, just another example of a good post-punk outfit from the UK. And, of course, this was a Canadian press there. You can see the maple leaf on the back. Nothing much on the inside here, just the lyric sheet, which is nice, you know, and some artwork here. Nothing spectacular on the inner sleeve. But, yeah, this is a good record. I bought this used way back when. If I bought this, yeah, I bought this. You can see here my friends back in Ontario at the formerly now defunct vinyl vendor in Kingston, Ontario. Bought a lot of records there in high school, and this is one of those records. It's Gang of Four, Songs of the Free. Another one by the numbers. All right. Oh, this is great. So these guys are from Seattle, part of the whole grunge thing. We all remember it from the early 90s. There's the big man himself, Tad Doyle. Apparently he came in around 300 pounds at the time. Don't know what they're up to these days. I think they're long disbanded. But Tad Doyle was the lead guitarist, lead singer, frontman. There he is, of course, at the front. And this guy here actually has a bit of a striking resemblance to James Hetfield. But anyway, that's not James Hetfield. Just looks like him. Separated at birth, maybe. But again, the number on this one, it's 8-Way Santa. So funny story with this one. Buddy of mine, JP, he's back up in Ontario. He turned me on to these guys. And he had the original cover of this. So as the story goes, oh, here it is over here. I printed this off the World Wide Web. What can't you find out there, right? So this was the cover that they had to change it to. This was the original. You can see it's Tad, 8-Way Santa. So the funny story behind this goes, I can show these in parallel. The story goes, at the time, I remember buying this CD and I was like, what's up with this? And I remember the guy telling me the story. Yeah, they had changed the cover because Tad, the band, bought this, like they went into a thrift store and they somehow picked up like an old photo album, and there's this dude and his wife on vacation or something. There they are, just getting down somewhere. And so apparently they got wind, this couple, of Tad using their image on the cover of the album, and they sued Tad. Don't think it was a major lawsuit or anything. Tad weren't by no stretch. They were known Nirvana as far as record sales, but in my opinion, Tad were an really excellent band. But so they had to change the cover from this, which is friggin' hilarious. I love it. From that 8-Way Santa became this. It just became a standard. Here's a picture of the band, and we're Tad. But that other one, of course, you just look at that. It's pretty hilarious. So that's the story behind that. But yeah, this is, I think, their first full-length debut. Again, this came out in 91. So Tad would owe unlike a Nirvana or Mudhoney, who, they owe their influences more to punk rock. These guys definitely, they would owe their influences, in my opinion, more to like 70s metal. They're really heavy, but they're not metal. It's got that grungy, sludgy guitar going on, but it's really wicked. Tad Doyle is a good singer, and he's a good guitar player. Here's on the back, it looks like some sort of a parade float. But yeah, it opens up with a track called Jinx. Look that up. That is a really great track. Hedgehog's good. Trash Truck. Jack Pepsi is probably my second favorite on this album. Jack Pepsi, reference to the rock and roll beverage, Jack and Coke, Jack and Pepsi, whatever turns you on, Jack and Cola, who cares? Gets the job done. But it's Tad, it's 8-Way Santa, number 8 in this video, featuring By the Numbers. All right, so yeah, I thought I'd show this real quick. This is just the follow-up to 8-Way Santa. It's called Inhaler. It's also really good. This is produced by Jay Mascis. I think he was the guy from Dinosaur Jr. A couple of the highlights on this one: Greasebox and Throat Locust, and Just Bought the Farm. That's really good too. I was listening to this last night. I haven't listened to this in ages, and it's really excellent. So if you like a hard driving, it's alternative metal, grunge, look up some Tad. You won't be disappointed, as the saying goes. All right, we're counting them down. Here we go. We're getting near the bottom. This is 10 years after. Stonehenge. I love it. Whenever I think Stonehenge, I always think of Spinal Tap. Stonehenge. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I think this is 10 years after. It might be their third or fourth, before Cricklewood Green came out. And you can see there's pictures of the band, like their heads on the Stonehenge, right? And of course, they were on the old Durham label, which was a division of London Records. Let's see what's on the inside here. It's really good, psychedelic blues rock, lots of gatefold sleeve. And there you got the track listing right there. And nice picture of Stonehenge. So on this one, Going to Try, Three Blind Mice, Speed Kills, those are all good tracks. And Alvin Lee, of course, lead guitar singer, and it's 10 years after. Stonehenge. I keep wanting to say Stonehenge, but they're stoned and they're at Stonehenge. So what are you going to do, right? That's what you do. So it's 10 years after, the number 10. Excellent band. I've got most of the 10 years after stuff. The first 6 anyway, and I just picked up a double live. I was going to show that, and I thought, hey, I think I showed that in one of my recent finds videos a few videos ago. But I love 10 years after. Excellent band. Taking a trip back up to the Great White North. These guys were from southwestern Ontario, I believe Sarnia. It's a few hours southwest of Toronto. And of course, featuring the great Kim Mitchell. The band was called Max Webster. I don't know who that is. There's no one in the band named Max Webster. And I don't know where they got the name from. So it's not a guy named Max Webster is my point. But anyway, they were a 4-piece, Kim Mitchell on guitar, on lead guitar that is, and singer. Real character, there he is right there, Kim in the corner. And this is, of course, called A Million Vacations, million being the number on this one. So this is their 4th studio album. I think this one came out in 1979. Really good Canadian content, I'll tell you. Most people outside of Canada don't even know these guys, so this is a recommendation. It's kind of like when I watch Ben Rankin's videos. He's down in Australia. He shows a lot of stuff from that part of the world I've never heard of before, so I'm always writing stuff down and checking it out on YouTube. So shout out to you, Ben. I love your channel. So anyway, Max Webster, A Million Vacations. A couple of big singles on this one that charted. Paradise Skies is a really good track. A Million Vacations, the title is good. And Let Go of the Line, that was a pretty major single at the time. I was in middle school when that came out, and I remember it being played on AM/FM radio both at the time. So good bands. See, there's some people on vacation, A Million Vacations. So yeah, again, 100% Canadian content right here. It's Max Webster, A Million Vacations, released in 1979. Little vintage country and western like I do. It's The Hag, it's Merle Haggard, and it's 11 winners. Merle, you could have picked 12. You easily could have had a dozen here, but anyway, this is 11. It is what it is, and it's on Capital EMI. A lot of good hits here. Moving On, of course, that's a great tune. That was the title was a theme song for a there was a show about a trucker called Moving On. I never watched it, but in the United States, and it was called Moving On, and they used that for the theme song. If We Make It Through December, that was the title track from that album. If We Make It Through December. Always Wanting You, that's a nice ballad. It's all in the movies. Yeah, it's Merle. It's just good beer drinking tunes, and that's, you know, that's what he's all about. Of course, he's long gone from this world, but it's Merle Haggard, 11 winners. Yeah, and when did this come out? Probably around 79, 80 if I was to guess, based on his look at the time right there. But yeah, 78, the release date on that. So if there's any photos of him on the inside here. No, their label really cheaped out here. The Orange Capital on the inside. Yeah, well, the greatest hits or a package like this, I like, usually the label would throw some photos or something on the inside, but they cheaped out on that one. But anyway, it's a solid compilation, and I only paid a few bucks for this one. And it's 11 Winners by Merle Haggard. What do we got here? A little trip down to Brazil. It's Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66 is what the name of the band. So Sergio Mendes, you know, he's kind of a protege of Antonio Carlos Jobim, and, you know, Joe Gilberto, the guitar player, jazz guitarist, also from Brazil. His wife, of course, was Astrid Gilberto, but he came up with all those guys. And, you know, call me a lounge lizard. You know, I'm showing that Burt Camford. This did not come from my dad's collection. I'm the Sergio Mendes fan, and I bought a bunch of his stuff. I like it. It's just got that kind of, like, it's very commercial, but it's got that bossa nova vibe to it. And he does a lot of covers on here, like the two women in the group. There they are on the there's Lanny Hall and Janice Hansen. There's the two gals up there. And of course, there's Sergio right in the middle there. He played piano and keyboards and was the band leader. And these other guys, other instrumentalists in the band. There they are having some cocktails, it looks like, you know. Yeah, cool, really cool, real cool cover. And this release date on this one, 1968. Certainly it screams it by the outfits here. So it's Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66. This is probably at least their sixth record at this point, fifth or sixth. And it's, of course, it's called Look Around, and they were on A&M. Herb Alpert signed these guys. Of course, Albert, he's put the A in A&M, and that's Herb Alpert, as I say. Some of the tracks on this, like I said, you do some covers. And the two ladies, like I said, Janice Hansen and Lonnie Hall would sing. And right here you've got With a Little Help from My Friends. Of course, that's the Beatles. Look Around is the title track from this. That's a fun song, and that's a Sergio Mendes composition. I always joke with a good friend of mine back in Ontario, my friend Andrew, and he watches these videos, and he's got a teenage daughter. And yeah, she's a big fan of that guy. What's his name? Shawn Mendes. No relation to Sergio Mendes. So Andrew, you can show this section of the video to Avery, and you'll get a charge out of that. So anyway, what else we got here? I was just going into low power mode, so I had to hit that button. I hope that doesn't pop up in the video, but if it does, so be it. But anyway, we're almost at the end here. So it's Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66. And of course, this is called Look Around, released in 1968. Really fun stuff, fun record. All right, so we're back in Canada for this one. This is some Canadian indie. I know probably nobody out there in the vinyl community has this. They were on the Zulu Records label. That was a record store still in existence in Vancouver. I know my friend Jack, he lives over on Vancouver Island. I'm sure whenever he's been in the Lower Mainland, Jack at the Vinyl Martini, of course, is his channel if you want to check it out. I'm sure he's familiar with that record store, Zulu. And they had a record label at the time. And this is 1980s. Release date on this one's 1985. They were a three-piece. The singer by the name of Roxanne Hickert. Really, it's just really nice alternative pop music. If I was to recommend a single from this one, it would be Just Another Day. And of course, this is Go for Three. It's just it's a 6-song EP, and it's Go for Three. It's fun. But yeah, that track, you can look that up on YouTube, Just Another Day. So of course, he's got two numbers in the title of this band, 4 and 3. Go for 3. All right, and anchoring out the video, excuse me, it's James. Excellent. I guess you'd call them Britpop from the 90s, still active today. I think they're a 6-piece band. I saw the tour after this, Laid, at the Danforth Music Hall, another venue in Toronto. I was living there at the time. And this is their 6th studio release. Of course, the Late album came out the following year. And the release date on this one, I want to say, is 1992. 91 for this one, sorry. Yeah, so I saw that Late tour. That would have been 93, a year later. But anyway, a lot of great tracks on this one. Of course, it's James 7. So yeah, the gentleman I mentioned earlier, the Vinyl Martini, that's Jack. Jack, I know you've shown a couple of James albums lately. This is probably my favorite. Highly recommended. Don't know if it's available on vinyl. I was buying all CDs at the time of the 90s, and that was what was on offer. So that's what I'm showing here today. But on this one, Born of Frustration, that's just a brilliant song. Tim Booth, the lead singer, is excellent. And they have trumpets in the band. There's a trombone player. There's a lot going on with these guys, but it's got that total Britpop vibe to it. Big sound. Don't Wait That Long is a beautiful ballad. Ring the Bells, that's a really great single. And of course, the title track on here, there it is. It's called 7. And there's the cover, James 7. Just a quick look on the inside here. See if there's a photo of the band. Yes, and there you can see there's lead vocalist Tim Booth. I take that back. They're a 7-piece band. Look at that, 7-piece. But yeah, Danforth Music Hall. Again, not a giant venue. It was an old, like a theater with a balcony and all that stuff. That kind of a venue. Probably 600 or 700 capacity. Before they were really the album after Laid, they were playing the Reading Festival, Tea in the Park, and they were a really big deal. But in North America, it took them a while to get some traction. Like this is their 6th album, and they already had a pretty good following in the UK where they were from. And it's James 7. So that's going to round out the video today. This theme today again, By the Numbers with your host MGK Boston. That's me. So this is a thread I'm trying to start. If you want to get on board, just show 12 records, CDs, I don't care, cassettes, 8 tracks, whatever floats your boat. And just again, with the band name, has to have a number in it. The title of the album must have a number in it. So you could even show a 7-inch single if it's got a number in it. I'm good with that. I just don't do 45s, as I used to call them, the 7-inch singles. But anyway, yeah. So that's this thread. Maybe a few people will jump on. If you do, tag me in it. I'd love to see it. Again, it's not a contest. Not running a contest here. It's just a thread I'm trying to get going as a subject in the vinyl community, as people do. So it's a gloomy Friday here. I guess we're going to get the end of that hurricane. We're going to get some big rain here tonight in the greater Boston area. That's what you get up here off the North Atlantic. But then the sun's supposed to come out tomorrow afternoon. So I'm liking the weather. It's getting cooler. It's great for my running. And I'm digging that. So anyway, I hope whatever you're doing this weekend, I hope it's a good one. And I'll see you next time.